What is going on, everybody? This is Rick Adams. We got Jack Farris on the line here because Rick Adams is away on a business trip for work up in New Hampshire. We're going to talk about a lot of hockey, as we always do. Jack, say hello.
What's up, listeners? Jack Farris here. Happy to be back with you. Rick, happy to be talking to you over the phone this time and over remote because you're up in New Hampshire area. But hey, we're still getting this done, right? We're still talking hockey. We're still bringing our listeners good content.
Yep. Oh yeah. We are dedicated to this. We're trying to bring our listeners the best hockey content that we possibly can to the best of our capabilities, and let's dive right into it, Jack. Let's what would you like to talk about first? I mean, there's been some great games. I'm ready to talk about any series, really. You got the floor.
Well, first and foremost, the series I wanted to talk about a little bit is because I was watching it. I was away a little bit on business too, and I was watching it on the iPad there. Darren Helm for Colorado scoring. What was it? Four seconds left.
I know.
I was, Jack's picks. I was rooting for St. Louis, obviously. Listen, Colorado's a sick team. We all know how good McCarr and McKinnon and Romnan is, and so much depth. But I was secretly rooting for St. Louis because they were kind of the underdog, and I do kind of like St. Louis a lot. I like a lot of players in St. Louis, so I was rooting for them, and it was about to go to overtime, and I was like, wow, I think St. Louis is going to pull up an upset here.
Right.
So next thing you know, 3.8 seconds to go. Fucking Darren Helm scores. He puts it away for Colorado. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is because I think I texted you. I was with Mr. Adams and we were watching the game, and I'm like, I guess this one's going to OT unless the Avalanche come down and score. And there was like 12 seconds left, and then they skate up and they just put it in. It's crazy. You got to give credit to St. Louis a little bit, man. They showed resiliency through that whole series, man. I totally underestimated them, 100%. So. I don't know why, though. I couldn't give you a good enough reason why. I don't know. They just weren't on my radar at all. They really weren't.
I think the thing with Colorado is their sheer firepower is so much stronger than St. Louis.
Yeah.
Tarasenko and Braden Shen and Ryan O'Reilly and David Perron, these guys are good. They're very, very good players. And they've got a lot of playoff experience. But I just don't think they match up against Colorado. Colorado's just that extra 4 gears, when you talk about McKinnon and Rantanen and McCall,
Right.
And even their blue line's pretty damn solid, aside from McCarr. Josh Manson's been playing good. Bowen Byram stepped in for Sam Girard, and he's playing pretty damn well, too.
Right.
So, it's... I'm not surprised Colorado won, but I was rooting for St. Louis a little bit, but not surprised at all that Colorado's playing Edmonton right now.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say I'm surprised about was that you and I both got the pick wrong with Calgary versus Edmonton. I just couldn't believe that whole series, and I really am shocked that Calgary only won 1 game. I really am shocked. It left me speechless. I mean, I'm happy for the Oilers. Don't get me wrong. Now I'm rooting for them, but I really was left speechless. Honestly, I was like, wow, this is you love to see it. It's something in a good way. You love to see it, and like you were saying, for the I don't know, the better of the league and whatnot, and for the Oilers team and the fans and everything, you got to see them make it out of the second round and whatnot. So it's just
I think you gotta
love it.
Yeah, first of all, if you have a guy like Connor McDavid, he's like the Tom Brady. Like I don't know. Actually, that's a bad comparison. You can't say Tom Brady because McDavid doesn't have the championships that Brady has, obviously. But he's that echelon. He's the superstar of the NHL. You
right.
know, when you talk about the NFL, who you're talking about? You talk about Tom Brady, maybe not anymore, but you talk about maybe LeBron James or I I don't know. I follow hockey the most. So I'm not going to be a good guy to pick players from different leagues, but you get my drift, right?
Yeah. Listen, he stands
McDavid's
out in the
just
league.
that.
He stands out in the league. You can
stands
see
out.
it. Any
Yeah.
person
A
that
guy
doesn't
watch hockey,
yeah,
doesn't know it.
exactly.
Watch him.
Exactly.
A guy that's never watched ice hockey, doesn't even know the rules or how it's played. To watch Connor McDavid fly down the rink and deke out 4 guys, and like, oh wow, that was cool. Like someone's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's even if you don't know the sport, you could appreciate how fucking good he is.
Exactly.
So I do think it's good for the league that he goes deep in the playoffs. But where I think I gave Calgary a lot of credit just because of Markstrom, and maybe I kind of got blinded by how much I like Matthew Tkachuk and how good of a season Johnny Gaudreau is having. I mean, look, Calgary's a good team, no doubt, but I think I underrated Edmonton's depth. Like I kept saying, oh, it's just McDavid, Draisaitl, but I think you tend to forget how Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is still a pretty damn good player, and he flies under the radar because you think of centerman on Edmonton, you're not thinking Nugent-Hopkins, you're thinking McDavid, Draisaitl.
Of course.
But Nugent-Hopkins is a damn good player, he really is, and Evander Kane has been lights out for them ever since they signed him and gave him a shot. Yeah. I like the kid Ryan McLeod.
I like him too.
Flying around. He's not putting up big points, but he looks pretty damn good. Zach Hyman is he's like an angry dog out there. He's just running around, hitting and fucking.
He buries it. Yep.
Yeah. And their blue line hasn't looked bad. Like guys like Cody Ceci, Tyson Barrie, Duncan Keith, even though he's like a veteran.
Darnell Nurse, man, he had a huge goal. Goal.
They've been stepping up, and you know what? Jack Farris will admit when he's a little bit wrong and didn't do enough research, and I think I underrated Edmonton's depth. I think I underrated their players. I think I just kind of said everything that a guy on ESPN or TSN would say, and go, it's McDavid, Draisaitl, but Evan Bouchard's been solid for them. I mean, they got a lot of guys that I wasn't really thinking about, I guess, or I wasn't giving enough credit to. I knew about them. I knew about the players, obviously, but wasn't giving them enough credit, I don't think.
Right. Listen, a guy I want to give credit to, and he's not really looking so hot. He got yanked in I think it was the second period here, this Edmonton versus Colorado game going live right now as we're recording this. But when people hear this, it will not be live. Looks like Darcy Kemper left the game, actually. It says undisclosed injury. I wonder if that changes anything. But point of this is I wanted to give credit to Mike Smith for that last series against Calgary. Wow, folks, Colorado just scored again. Goaltending's going to be an issue. But listen, I wanted to give
spanked by Colorado.
I wanted to give
as for giving them
I wanted to give
praise.
A special shout out to Mike Smith just because I remember saying that unless Mike Smith plays out of this world goaltending, he can be the difference maker just because of him standing on the head. Listen, honestly, and obviously, you got guys like Kane leading the team in goals and McDavid leading the league in points and all this stuff. Those guys are true difference makers. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, if they can't stop the puck, then whatever. I think I went through the stats last podcast episode, but Mike Smith, Game 2 and Game 3, really did play lights out. He played well. And that's all you could ask for. But, this... Listen, we said this... I think you and I spoke privately. We were like... This series, Edmonton and Colorado, is going to be a shootout. I mean, I don't think both goalies are tremendous. I don't want to use the word difference makers because I just used it, but I don't think they're that good. I don't think it's going to be a 2-1 game, a 3-1 game. I mean, look at the score right now. It's 7-3. It's 7-3, and Edmonton has very good offense, so it just comes down to home games for Colorado and the goaltender standing on his head. Really, I've said it before. People give me shit for saying, "Oh, that's all I talk about," but I don't think those people really know hockey. Honestly, I really don't think they know it. So that's where we're at. That's where I'm at least, and. it really you can't really let that go unnoticed. The home games and how much of an effect it has, and really the goaltender just playing lights out on certain nights, and that really whether he's the third string, the first string, whatever, he could be the difference maker. So you know. Holy
100%.
shit! I don't know if you just saw that goal by.
I was just watching it.
Yeah,
That's why I
that was
was pausing.
insane. Drysaitel just toe drags it and passes it right to Connor McDavid for a one-timer goal. That's an unreal play. Unreal.
That's what's going to take for Edmonton to win. Is those two guys just, you know, stepping up. At least from here. I mean, like I said, last series when they played Calgary, their depth really stepped it up. But the way Colorado's firepower is going, McDavid's going to have to match McKinnon and all these guys. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
But
there was great defensive effort on that. He just did a nice move. It was unreal. Sorry.
no, but you know what, Rick? I agree with you on the I think the home games and away games type of thing, like it matters and it doesn't. I think it matters to an extent. I do think like these guys get a little more pumped up when their hometown and their home crowd is
Oh, 100%.
really ramping it up and really pumped
100%.
up and going nuts. And but I do think these guys are professionals, and I think even on the road they could tune that out and stuff because these guys are they're professionals. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't think a Tampa Bay is going to be scared by like the Rangers crowd being loud. They've been there, they've done that. You know what I mean? I think it's.
I don't
You get
think.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, Tampa, I'll agree with, but I think other teams. I mean, listen, look at Carolina Rangers series. Rangers haven't lost a home game since the first game they played in the Pittsburgh series that went to triple OT. And my whole thing is me saying these home games and the goaltending standing on the head is based off the Rangers playing.
Well, goaltending,
Listen,
I definitely agree with.
I
Goaltending
know.
matters.
Listen, it's no secret. It's Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. There's no place like it, and all this shit, right? But just from my own eyes, from what I'm watching, you really see, you really just see the difference in a game, a home game in Madison Square Garden for the Rangers versus a home game in Carolina. I'm sorry. I said it even before the game started. I was saying to a couple people that I just don't think Carolina, even though Carolina that game 7 was 7-0 at home, I just don't think that Carolina plays with that much more adrenaline, that much more edge at a home game compared to the Rangers do at Madison Square Garden on a home game. Why is that? I don't know. Is it the crowd? Is it this? I don't know. But that's just what I noticed, and I said I had a feeling, Game 7, I said I had a feeling the Rangers are just going to come out fucking exploding because they're finally going to get it together and whatnot, whether it's mentally, whether it's a game plan, going into Game 7 on the road. They did it, and it's really hard for me not to root for them as a New York Islanders fan, honestly. I got to say it. People will say I'm a fake fan, but I really don't give a fuck, so.
Hey, yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, I think it's, like I said, the home game thing, I think you're right in a sense, like to a degree, but I think also in some cases it doesn't really matter. I think it could go either way. The goaltending I agree with because for 2 reasons. Igor Shesterkin was the best goalie in the Pittsburgh and Carolina series by a long shot, and that's a huge reason why the Rangers won. Not taking anything away from their players that stepped it up. Guys like Jacob Trouba and the list goes on and on for me. Lindgren just jumping in front of shots, blocking shots, playing like a warrior. He's playing like Dan Girardi from like 2011. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Andrew Kopp stepping it up. Like these, a lot of guys stepped it up and got the job
Ryan
done.
Strome stepped it up big time, former New York Islander.
Yeah, he scored a huge goal for them. But yeah, no doubt. Like it's the goaltender. Like Igor Shesterkin is a huge reason that the Rangers won. I mean, you You could see, especially I think against Carolina, because against Carolina, like they were getting power plays. Carolina was getting really good chances, and they just couldn't get it past them.
Right.
So it's going to be a way bigger test. Not to jump ahead of things here, but when the Rangers go and play Tampa, this is gonna be a real test for them. Like, can their big guys step it up? Can Panarin and Zibanejad and Kreider? Because Kreider's another, he's been lights out he's contributing every game.
Yeah,
he's doing what he has to do. Those guys are gonna really have to step it up because you're not playing against. No disrespect to Antti Raanta, because he's a solid goalie, and Tristan Jarry. You're going up against Andrei Vasilevsky now, who is probably the best goalie in the league, I think. I think Shesterkin will probably be the best goalie in the league, but I don't think you could really say he's better than Vasilevsky yet. Vasilevsky's still very good. He's still in his prime. He's won 2 cups. This guy's a legit goalie, an elite goalie.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and there's no debate. There's no debate, honestly. And you know what's funny, real quick?
Difference.
Real quick, Jack, with Vasilevsky, it's like he let in 5 goals on that game 1 against Toronto and then automatically flipped the switch. Was lights out ever since. Seriously. It's like he took that to heart. He took that personally and he just flipped the switch, man. Really did. Real quick, I want to just throw out a stat there. Shesterkin finished that series with 1.72 goals against. I mean, you really can't ask for much more. And I think I mentioned it in the podcast last episode, that the first 2 games, just Rangers couldn't bury. They couldn't bury their chances, and we said it, like, they just need to capitalize on their opportunities more, and they'll finish this. They'll close out the series and finish it, and hey, they did just that.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, they're the guys that needed to step up for the Rangers were able to step up for the Rangers. And it was all Igor. Not all Igor, but he was a big part of it.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
I think the younger guys they played well.
Oh yeah,
like Braden Schneider, they did their job. They didn't look intimidated. They came in and they stepped up. They played the right way.
Hedl played great.
Philip Hedl
really played great, man.
Good catch. I'm glad, because I was watching him the other night and he's looked way better. He's looked like a different player.
Yeah, he really stepped up. Oh yeah, 100%.
He's shooting more. He looks more confident. He doesn't, he's not hesitant with the puck. You know what I mean? Like he looks like he's gaining confidence.
Looks like he's been there before.
Yeah, 100%. He's another guy. So if you get him going, that's just another piece of the arsenal for them. So.
Oh yeah. I agree.
I'm impressed with them, man. I really am, because I'll admit I was a little scared. I was a little nervous at Carolina, because Carolina's a good team, but the whole time I knew the Rangers had the edge in goaltending. I knew Igor was a better goalie than any goalie on Carolina, and he came in and proved it. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. And you know what? We were saying, like, the real test now is with Tampa. And that's a scary team, man. I don't want Tampa to win at all, just because of the last 2 years, what they did to the Islanders. So that's why I'm like, I just want, I just want Tampa to lose. Let both New York teams come together for the sake of New York and beat fucking Tampa, man. Please. If I'm betting on it, I gotta go with Tampa just because of the past, past 2 years. Look at it, 2-time Stanley Cup champs. But if I'm betting, I'd have to pick them to win the series. But I don't know, man. We said this with series before. It wouldn't shock me, if the Rangers win, but I guess in a way it would, just because of the elite team that Tampa is, and then the Rangers kind of coming out of nowhere, Yeah.
So. Well, that was on Thursday of last week when Game 5 for the Rangers, when Carolina won that game 3-1 and they went up 3-2. I was just like, oh god, like I was thinking to myself, "There's no way Carolina's going to win the series." That's what I was thinking. But that Game 6, man, on Saturday night,
Yeah.
they stepped it up. They looked like a different team. They were playing with pace.
It's that home game, man.
Yeah, it was a home game. So whether it was that or they were ready to play. They didn't want to lose. They bumped up their pace. There's no doubt. They had some pep in their step. So their big guys got it done, and the guys like Tyler Mott and these guys, and like you said, Philip Hedl, they got it done. Igor Shesterkin played great. So
yeah, But before that Game 7, I sent out a text. I don't know if it was you or a separate group chat and whatnot. I said I think the Rangers' top guys get it done, like Fox, Kreider, Shesterkin, and there you go, So
I'm impressed with Fox because at first I thought when he played against Pittsburgh and even in the beginning of the Carolina series, I felt like he was kind of getting pushed around a little bit. He was a little bit like, I wouldn't say intimidated, but like he was getting shut down a little bit. But you watch him with the puck, man, his poise, and just he waits and he waits for an open seam and makes a smart play, smart pass. Like he's such a smart, poised player. And he's a good enough skater. Like, he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's quick enough to like kind of skate himself out of trouble. And every pass is a good pass. You know what I mean? You don't see him just like throwing it blind or something. Like every play he makes, whether it's at the blue line or in his own zone, it has a meaning. And if you watch him and you really focus on Fox and the way he plays defensively and just moving the puck out of his own end, it's pretty impressive to watch.
Yeah,
he's smart. His brain works pretty well with the puck, I'll tell you that.
He has 18 points in 14 games played in the postseason for a reason, So, 5 goals, 13 assists. Great guy in the power play. You can't ask for more, man, out of your defenseman right there, That's,
no, definitely not.
Contributes both ends
right
of the ice,
side,
And it's not like he's like a negative 12,
Well, that's what I mean. He's not a liability because he's not like a riverboat gambler. He's not just going out there flying around trying to beat 3 guys, losing the puck and turning it over. Like I said, you watch him, every play he makes, it's with meaning. He has poise. Like he's not throwing it blind behind his back. He's not like trying to beat 2 guys to make the highlight reel goal. He just kind of knows where to put the puck and where not to, and he waits and waits. And, he has that extra second of patience where, maybe the guy goes to stick check him and he's already got it off his blade into the guy that's open that the other guy left. Like he's smart when you watch him. So there's a reason he has that many assists, and he's amazing offensively, and he's not afraid to get hit. He's not he doesn't play soft, but he's not the guy that's going to lay out. He's not a big kid. He's not a big muscular kid. He's not like Charlie McAvoy or Trouba or one of these guys, but he doesn't have to be because I think his brain gets him out of trouble. Like instead of having that big hit, his hockey IQ is off the charts. Like he can watch a guy's shoulders and make a good stick check. He could just move the puck out of his zone and quality play, get it in the hands of his forwards. So, between that and then you got Jacob Trouba on the right side as well. It's doing the opposite end of that, like throwing hits, being aggressive and physical. I mean, not too many guys in the league that Jacob Trouba is intimidated of. You know what I mean? The guy hammers guys. He's a big, fucking, strong, muscular kid. And he's offensively not so bad either. If you remember Trouba back in Winnipeg, he was putting up a lot of points. He was kind of running that power play. So I'm sure if he was running the power play for New York instead of Fox, he would probably have even more points too. But we kind of have the best of both worlds. We got 2 great right-handed shot D-men. One's great offensively, one's great defensively.
Yeah.
So
Trouba's been playing like a bruiser out there, I have to say too. Not taking any shit.
And I don't think Jacob Trouba gets enough credit. I think some Ranger fans aren't like super tuned into hockey, kind of give him shit, or at least they used to, because he makes a lot of money. But I've always liked Trouba, and defensively, what he does, I don't think he gets enough credit for, because from from the outside looking in, you kind of Fox gets all the credit, and rightfully so, because he's got so many points and he scores goals and stuff. But what Trouba does is a fort. Trouba's a very, very good defenseman. There's no doubt about it.
Right. No, I agree. I've heard that before. Ranger fans complain and whatnot about Trouba, but I don't watch them religiously unless it's playoffs and whatnot, and the game's on, and it's the only game of the night and whatever. I'll watch, but hey, from what I see, you're getting your money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely getting your money's worth there.
On the Carolina side of things, I mean, we could talk. Well, I don't want to give the Rangers' fourth line. I think has been great too. I mean, I think all those guys like Reeves, Tyler Mott's a guy I want to see the Rangers re-sign. He's done a lot. He's been some bang for the buck. I've heard that a lot of teams wanted him too. A lot of playoff teams wanted him, and I can see why now, because he just goes out there and he's just like a little buzzsaw. He just runs around. He's like stripping guys from pucks. He's diving in front of shots. He's fucking,
Yeah.
Him and Frank Petrano, two forwards that not a lot of people
Petrano,
think about.
I wanted to acknowledge he played great, and
he played great.
Yeah, he did.
He did. Yeah, I think the Rangers were up like was it 4-1, and he's diving in front of slap shots and shit. And he's
that's he's great. I'm so glad you brought that up. I saw a stat. I don't know what they ended on. I saw a stat. I think it was by the third period. The Rangers had fucking 20 block shots at one point. I mean, that's 20 block shots. I mean, that's like
Barclay Goodrow comes back.
Something else, man. Yeah, Goodrow coming back was huge. Definitely huge.
Huge penalty killer, and we know Carolina had the good power play going, so having him back for that was key.
Yeah, the Rangers finished that game real quick, Rick. Jack, I mean. They finished that game with 25 block shots. You can't ask for much more, man. It's great.
Yeah. And like I said, these underrated pickups like Tyler Mott, Frankie Petrano, where unless you're like an avid NHL follower, you might not have even heard of them. You know what I'm saying? Before they came to the Rangers. But these guys, they're blocking shots. They're running around, like I said, like buzzsaws. They're hitting guys. They're getting in front of the net, taking shots on goal. They look like they never get fucking tired. And those are the type of guys you need in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, do
most
the dirty
of these
work.
Good championship teams. And I think the Rangers are a championship team, but the Rangers have their superstars ready, right? They have Zibanejad and Panarin and Kreider. So they have Adam Fox. You know what I mean? So like, you're not going to go out and acquire a big name fucking superstar at the deadline. But when you give up a lower end draft pick, a third round pick, maybe a second, and you get these guys like
Vetrano,
like Mott and Vetrano, you sign Goodrow in the offseason as a free agent. These are the guys that are making a difference in the playoffs. And you're seeing it with all these teams that are winning. You're seeing it with you're definitely seeing it with Tampa. We've already talked about that. They do it every year. They go out and they usually spend first-round picks to get guys like Nick Paul, Brandon Hagel, who was a very smart pickup. He's locked up for a couple more years, a nice cap hit. But these guys know, like these GMs and coaches know that have been playing in the championships and playing in the cup and going deep in the playoffs. They know. They identify what their team needs, and that's what they need in the playoffs. I mean, they already have their superstars. They're not going out and acquiring an Artemi Panarin or Nikita Kucherov at the deadline. It's not going to happen. But they know, I'll pay up. I'll give a first-round pick and a prospect for a guy like Hagel, who's 25 years old. He's going to run around. He's going to block shots. He's going to score goals. You get Frankie Petrano. I forgot what the Rangers paid for him. Maybe a second-round pick they gave? A second or third-round pick. I think it was actually a third that they gave to Florida for Frankie Petrano. And you can't go wrong with that one. I think Mott was the same thing. Pretty sure Mott was a third-round pick, maybe even a fourth. They didn't give up much for Tyler Mott. I mean, and these guys are making a difference. It's those depth players that are hungry and they're willing to block shots, and they're obviously good enough players where they can skate well and they're quick and they can run around. They hit guys. That bottom six, it's the bottom six. Like if you have a competent bottom six that knows how to play,
Right.
and isn't afraid to play playoff hockey and block some shots and get hit and go to the front of the net and get cross checked in the fucking back as they're trying to jam a puck in. Those are the type of guys you need in the playoffs.
Right.
Time and time again. And like I said, the Rangers did a great job. I think Drury did an awesome job with Mott and Vetrano. Obviously, Andrew Kopp, who costs a lot more than Vetrano and Mott and these guys. But, Andrew Kopp, obviously a great pickup too. But every team does it that is smart and wants to win a cup. I mean, even Colorado did it. They had to their bottom six. I know they had Lehkonen, not that he's some big bruiser, but he's a smart bottom six forward. They had Josh Manson, big, tough, right-handed shot D-man. So, these teams, they know. The teams that go deep in the playoffs, you make smart depth adds, and they're players that are willing to play greasy.
Yeah.
You gotta play that greasy game.
Yeah, you gotta play with that grit. You gotta have that. Listen, you gotta be physical. You gotta win the puck battles. You gotta play with some heart. And you gotta have that in front.
Dig pucks out.
Yeah, and you gotta have that in front of the net presence, man. That's a big, that's a big key right there.
Look at Pittsburgh all those years back when they were winning cups. Like they had a guy like Chris Kunitz.
Yeah, and
he was a winger. He played physical.
Yeah.
Block shots, and what he do? He played with Crosby, and what would he do? He would run into the corners, dig out pucks, and get them to Sidney Crosby.
Exactly.
He'd go get hit. He would get the puck. He'd get it to Crosby. Crosby would score. I mean, that was kind of his job,
Yeah, that's why he was there.
But I think the Rangers did a great job at the deadline. I don't think they mortgaged too much of their future. They didn't have to mortgage their prospects and their picks so much. I'm sure they gave up some picks for this year, but it's not really going to matter because now they're so deep in the playoffs. But, Rangers did great. You talk about Carolina, I think they're still in a good spot. They're still a good team. If Freddie Anderson comes back, that definitely hurt them.
Yeah,
I think Freddie
that definitely hurt them, 100%.
He's a better goalie than Antti Ranta. And that Russian kid, Kachekhov's a backup goalie. He got thrown into a pretty tough situation, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy.
Yeah, so that sucks for his confidence. You get thrown into a game 7, and you kind of the first shot on goal was a fucking goal. But yeah, look, Carolina's a good team too. I don't, start looking at Carolina and the Rangers, and at first you see the season Carolina had, and you kind of get blinded by it. But I think the Rangers have more depth than them.
Yeah. Agreed.
They really do. But when you as far as Carolina goes, though, they have some decisions to make. They definitely got to re-sign Tony DeAngelo, which is going to be interesting to see what he gets, because I think he's going to have to get a lot of money after the season he had. I don't know how if it's going to be long term or what, but you got to make a decision on him, and you definitely got to make a decision on Vincent Trocheck, because I believe he's a UFA.
I believe so too.
Big piece of their team, but you got Svechnikov locked up. You got Aho locked up a few more years. I think you got Slavin locked up a few more years. So they definitely got some good players locked up, and I'm sure they'll get something done with Tony D. I think I'm sure he's going to get paid big time. He's had an unreal year. Trocheck, awesome second line center, plays with some grit, got a lot of skill. So I think they're in a good spot. I think they're going to be competitive still for a few more years. We got to get Anderson healthy and maybe add a few pieces here and there, but maybe they bring back a guy like Max Domi if he's not too expensive. He seems to fit in pretty well with them too. So, what do you think, Rick, about Carolina?
Well, they definitely got some decisions to make. Like you said, with Trocheck, you would like to see them re-sign him. I don't see why they wouldn't. I don't know their current cap off the top of my head. I'll get into that in a sec, but you mentioned about Tony D there. Just given the market for the defenseman. I think Seth Jones kind of ruined that market there. But you gotta. I mean, I'm expecting Tony D to get no less than like 6 mil, 6.5 mil. 6.5 really, maybe for 3 years.
Yeah.
I just don't see it being any less than that.
I don't think he's going 3 years. So
You don't think
he's
so?
26 going. He's 26
locked
going on 27. If his agent's smart, he's going to get him more than 3 years.
Well, that is true. No, that is true. You got a solid point there. I guess I wasn't really looking at it more so from the player's perspective of what they want. I'm thinking of more on the team because I'm thinking lock him up for 3 years. See what he's more capable of before you. Because you never know. You never know what could happen. Lock him up for 7, and then all this other shit happens. He instantly declines. I don't think he's that kind of player just because of the way he plays, his edge and whatnot. I don't think he plays fired up. So I can't see him just declining at age 31.
Well, he's also 26, so he's in his prime. He's got some good years ahead of him.
Yeah.
So that's why I think his agent's probably going to shoot for like a 6 or 7 year deal. I don't know if they'll get it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets like 6 years, 6.5 or 7 million a year. Wouldn't shock me.
Right. Yeah. Trocheck is going to be interesting. I wonder if. Who else are you going to put, who else are you going to sign? That's the whole thing. Who else,
And he fits in well there.
Yeah, he fits in. He's already in the system. He knows the system. He's familiar with his teammates. It's not like, I know these guys are professionals and whatnot, and a guy coming from another team can, they can make it happen, but it doesn't, you also see that it doesn't work out well. So I think they do re-sign him. I don't see why not. I think it'd be a little silly not to be honest. So I don't see that being an issue. But
and you got the younger, you got. They did sign Kotkaniemi long term, right? So
yeah,
I'm sure they'd like to see more out of him. But I don't know if you got Aho, Trocheck, Kotkaniemi down the middle, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, and
overall.
you got Jarvis on the wing.
Yeah, Seth Jarvis looks better and better. I mean, he got fucking clobbered by Trouba.
Yeah.
Some people are saying it was a dirty hit. Some people are. I'm not trying to be Rangers biased here. I mean, it didn't look dirty. I think it's more so that Jarvis is 20 years old and Trouba's just a big fucking boy.
Yeah,
it didn't really look like a head-hunting hit to me. I don't think, I don't know about you, Rick. As a non-Ranger fan, I don't know. Do you think that was a dirty hit?
I missed the hit. I actually did. I'm not sure what I was looking at, but I couldn't even tell you. I was drinking a lot last night.
Probably looking at the mountains.
Yeah, no, I couldn't tell you. I could look it up right now though, but let you know what I think. Wow, it's the first thing that comes up when I when I type this in. All right, excuse the noise, folks. I'm gonna.
And here comes Trouba. He feeds it off for Kakko on a nice
Hold on one sec.
and a penalty here
Uh-oh.
against Carolina. They had too many men on the ice.
Too many
So the
men.
bench,
What is
one of
this?
the key bench.
Here's the replay. I don't know. Really shitty angle.
Jarvis is now returned to the Carolina bench.
Here we go. Here's a good.
He's going to deliver the pass, and Trouba.
I don't think it's a dirty hit. Let's see.
Yeah, I didn't
We
really
got
think so either.
Now remember, we're looking at this in slow motion.
That's shoulder to shoulder, man. I think his head flings back because of the speed that they were going at. Listen, another thing I want to mention is when you slow down the play and the replay and whatever, it's always going to look worse than it really is. It always is. I don't know, basing off the live hit at the angle I saw real quick, I don't think it's... I don't know. He was finishing his check. You can't even say it's a late hit. Well, it was open ice. He wasn't by the boards where he boarded him or did something fucked up. There's no Rangers bias at me, so I really don't think there is. It's a bad hit. Sucks that he got hurt, and he was out for the game. But I don't think that was dirty hit. It looked shoulder to shoulder to me, but. Whatever. That's Rick Adams' opinion. Doesn't really count. Doesn't really matter much. But I don't know. That's what I think. I can't wait for for Wednesday. Honestly, I'm really interested to see what the Rangers do against Tampa. I really am.
I, I am too, Rick. I think it's going to be interesting. It's game one. You can't judge game one too much either way, whether Rangers or Tampa wins, because I think both of those teams are good enough to make a comeback no matter what.
Right.
And adjust. I think adjustments are huge, and both coaches, especially John Cooper, honestly, are capable of making adjustments. But yeah, it could go either way. Listen, I'm not the type of Ranger fan that's sitting here saying that all Rangers are going to take Tampa down. Like, I know how good Tampa is and can be. But, not even Rangers biased here. I could see Shesterkin just having another amazing series and just more so putting himself on the map as an elite goaltender in this league. I could see the Rangers' young defensemen, including Trouba and Fox, but those guys really stepping up to the plate, and because we all know how good Hedman and McDonough are, but they're also a little bit older. They've played a lot of hockey. They've had injuries, so it wouldn't shock me if Trouba and Fox are like, all right, this is our time to shine here. You got your Shurkin playing well. The Rangers' big boys are going to have to get it done offensively. It's either that or you're going to be depending on your bottom six, like the Motts, Vetrano, Kopp, which, I like their depth too. I think they're going to be able to contribute goals. But like I said, I think Tampa could play a more physical, greasier game. Every line that goes out there is capable of playing a complete shift and capable of scoring. Whether it's Cirelli and Killorn or obviously Stamkos, Palat. We'll see if Braden Point comes back. But you just go look up Tampa Bay's lines on daily faceoff. I mean, every player is, every line's capable of scoring.
Oh yeah. There's definitely no debate about that.
And their goalie is unbelievable. And Victor Hedman's still one of the best defensemen in the league. He's probably top three. So yeah, it's going to be a real interesting series because it could go either way. I think a lot of people are picking Tampa, and I don't blame them because I do think Tampa is just still that good. But obviously, I'm rooting for my Rangers, and it's not, if the Rangers get past Tampa, I'm not going to be shocked.
Yeah, I was saying that earlier. Yeah,
the Rangers are going to have to play the best hockey of their lives. And their young guys 100%. Are going to have to. Hey. It goes both ways. It's almost like Tampa's disadvantage is that they've played so much hockey and they're a little bit on the older side, and the Rangers' disadvantage is they haven't played a lot of playoff hockey and they're inexperienced. So it goes both ways,
Listen, I think if nothing devastating happens to Tampa, injury-wise, and they don't lose 3 key guys and whatnot, or God forbid Vasilevsky gets hurt or something, I think they're gonna win. But listen, this should be the best series in hockey. Honestly, this really should be the best series so far. Honestly, and there was tons of great series. I just think that it's two of the best goaltenders going at it. I mean, look, we're watching Edmonton versus Colorado. There's literally second string goalies in right now. It's 2 backups. It's funny. You got 2 backups going at it, and then you got the 2 best goaltenders going at it on the East Coast. It's kind of funny how that works, and maybe just due to that fact. Now that we have a Final Four here, maybe based off that fact that the Cup goes back to the East once again. Goaltending's huge. It's no secret.
Yeah.
So, that's my prediction.
Goaltending's huge, and it's what the Rangers' depth's going to have to do with Tampa does, because we've seen with Tampa that when Braden Point was hurt, okay, well, Nick Pohl will just score the big goal. Oh, Stamkos isn't scoring. Okay, Cirelli will score the big goal.
Right.
Okay, Kucherov's not scoring. Killorn will score the big goal, or Hagel will. They Ross Colton steps up. There's always someone with them. And you can say the same about the Rangers so far, honestly, too. So a lot of their guys are stepping up too. But you get my point. Tampa's just the way they're built. and the chemistry. It's just, you know, they're able to roll 4 lines, and every line that goes out there is dangerous, you know. So, Rangers obviously going to be depending on Shesterkin to play the way he has played and then some. Their D to be strong, and their young players to step up to the plate. You know, their young players are really going to have to step up to the plate. Lafreniere, I think, has been very impressive. He's been their best.
Yeah, he has been.
Heedle's had a couple great games, no doubt. He's been scoring. He's playing awesome too. But Lafreniere's been playing real good. But that's the difference between Tampa and the Rangers. Those guys, the second, third line wingers on Tampa are like experienced guys. They're experienced players that have kind of been there and played in big games before. With the Rangers, it's like you're kind of depending on Lafreniere and Heedle and Kakko and these younger guys.
Right.
Mixed in with some vets like Andrew Kopp or Petrano. But that's the only thing with the Rangers that scares me a little bit. And it's not that I don't have faith in these young guys. It's just that they're so young and inexperienced so far, at least in the playoffs, that you're kind of asking a lot of them. So we'll see where that goes. You know, I hope they just step up to the plate, but that's where I think Tampa has the advantage.
Right. No, I agree. Listen, it's going to be good. I really can't wait. It's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a shootout like this one. I think just based on the facts that it's, it's no secret. It's the two best goaltenders in the league going at it head to head. So I really don't see it being. I don't see it being a 7-5 halfway through the third period like how Edmonton versus Colorado is right now.
No, I don't think so either. I think either team, even if the Rangers take dumb penalties and give up power plays, I think Shesterkin is good enough that they're not just going to light him up. And I think the same goes for the Rangers. Like, you're not just lighting up Vasilevsky. You know, very rarely that's going to happen on either end.
Right.
So,
right. No, exactly. Let's dive into this real quick. What do you? I got a question for Mr. Jack Farris here. What do you think the biggest shock so far in the playoffs is? I'll just start it off real quick. I think my biggest shock out of the whole, from what I watched, was Tampa sweeping Florida. Might be a little bit of an obvious one, just because it was the President Trophy winner, and best record in the NHL, and Florida couldn't even get a win in. I think that might be the biggest shock. What do you think, though, Jack? What do you think? The biggest shock in the playoffs so far.
Yeah, I think that's honestly that may. Yeah, I think the Panthers, it has to be the biggest one just because of their season they had, and they added, so they kind of went all in. They added some pieces. They added Giroux. They had defensemen and Sherrod. And their team is so good. It really is. Barkov, Huber. Like, look how many people picked them to win the cup. And
I know. I picked them to win.
Yeah. That's probably the biggest upset. I'd say that's the biggest upset. The only one that comes close, I think, is Calgary being out against Edmonton, just because Calgary is so good all year, and they have a lot of good players too.
Right.
And Markstrom was unreal all year, and Kachuk and Goudreau and Lindholm and Mangiapane, and I don't know what really faulted Calgary overall. I think maybe their blue line wasn't strong enough, and Edmonton's just firepower. Their superstars with David Draisaitl, Calgary couldn't contain it. I think that was part of it. But yeah, overall, the big two would probably be definitely Florida losing to Tampa like that in such a short fashion. The other one I would have is that Jamie still didn't unblock you. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is that is crazy. That's a good note there. Will it ever happen? Who knows? Special shout out, happy birthday to Major Witt. Today is his birthday. But But yeah, who knows if Jamie will unblock me? We'll get into that as more episodes come. It's I would say that is one of the biggest shocks too. All jokes aside, I love this time of year. I know we say it literally every podcast. You got the summer, the spring coming up. Spring, summer over here in Long Island, and it's just great. I mean, playoffs are on. Nice weather, beach weather, Memorial Day weekend. It's just you can't ask for much more. So this is great, and listen, let's see what happens. We're gonna wrap this one up. This is pretty much of a shorter podcast. We're down to the final four. Listen, we'll have one more coming. We'll have another episode towards the end of the week and whatnot. I gotta travel back to Long Island Friday night. Friday during the day. Won't be getting home till nighttime. So maybe we'll do one over the weekend.
We'll wrap up some games, then probably the end of this week.
Yeah, probably do one over the weekend. We'll probably squeeze one in, or worst case scenario, we'll have to do it Monday. But yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, we have got plenty to talk about still. That's for damn sure. And yeah, if you listeners got anything you want to hear us talk about, you feel free to reach out. But obviously the main focus here is going to be these series: Edmonton versus Colorado and the Rangers versus Tampa, and everything involved in them. What players are stepping up, what players are maybe on the milk carton and missing in action, right?
Oh yeah, MIA.
And, yeah, but we'll be focused on the playoffs, and obviously once we get past the playoffs, we'll have plenty to talk about as well with the draft, free agency, you name it. But
yeah. Agreed.
We're pumped for the playoffs. I'm real pumped for tomorrow night, Rangers versus Tampa. That's for sure. It's going to be one hell of a series. And yeah, I mean, listen, Canadian listeners and American listeners, I'm sure got plenty. Unless you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, of course. But if you're an Oilers fan, you're pumped. If you're a Rangers fan, you're pumped. If you're just a hockey fan, there's plenty of good teams to watch.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The Rangers weren't in the last year, and the Rangers weren't in. I was still having fun watching it every night. So.
Oh yeah, you could totally agree on that. Totally agree on that. All right, it's getting late over here. We're gonna wrap this one up. That's it. That's all I got. This is Rick Adams on the line with Jack Farris, and we're gonna close this one out here.
All right, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening, and we'll be back at you next week. Appreciate all you guys.
All right. Stay tuned for the next episode, folks. We're out.
Later. Have a good night, guys.